People here say it feels like a different place compared to the early days of lockdown before Boris Johnson got ill. In this part of Birmingham, there are now more cars and more people on the streets, according to window cleaner Alan Wooding, who says the Prime Minister should send a clear message he's back by strengthening the lockdown, not easing it.
It's getting busier than what it is, and ask Boris Johnson to crack down on it, When other police have got enough to do, maybe ring the army in to patrol certain areas that's really rife with people walking about and that.
Britain's lockdown has never been as strict as it was in other European countries such as Italy. And that means the rewards in terms of Boris Johnson's promise to send coronavirus packing aren't being reaped as quickly.
We are sadly not seeing quite as a rapid decline in the UK as many of our European neighbours have seen in their countries. And I think we don't really yet understand fully why that is, and that needs to be something that we address fairly soon.
No wonder the Prime Minister's stand-in is refusing to raise hopes by discussing an end game for lockdown.
What we've said very clearly is we've set out the 5 tests for what the next transitional phase would look like. It won't be just going back, it will be a new normal, if you like, with social distancing measures adapted to areas which are currently closed off. If you go too early with your measures, and I think there'll be international experience when we're done with this crisis that will bear this out. If you go too early, you end up trying to come out of it too early, and that risks the second spike.
But in a letter to the Prime Minister, the Labour leader Keir Starmer said the British public have made great sacrifices to make the lockdown work. They deserve to be part of an adult conversation about what comes next. Whilst Boris Johnson has been away from his desk, a lot has changed. Many people are still resolutely behind the lockdown, terrified by the continuing spread of coronavirus. Others are fed up. Businesses are questioning how long they can survive for. Amongst the voices trying to influence the Prime Minister are people like Phones for You co-founder and Tory donor John Caldwell.
I hate to be a doom monger, but the reality is that we are in for a very, very tough time post-corona. And the longer it goes in, the tougher that time's going to be.
But a key government advisor says reopening the country whilst shielding the elderly would send the death rate shooting up.
If you just achieve, for instance, 80% shielding, 80% reduction in infection risk in those groups, we'd still project you get well over 100,000 deaths later this year through that sort of strategy.
It's been over 3 weeks since Boris Johnson was last seen on the steps of Downing Street. In his absence, Britain has gone past the coronavirus peak, but the crisis is far from over. Lisa Holland, Sky News.